So if you're wondering if right now makes sense to purchase a home, I want you to get in a time machine with me, and we're gonna go back to about 18 months ago. So this is what buying a house looked like in 2020, 2021. It had to be the number one priority in your life. You had to have a very flexible schedule so that when a house hit the market, within 3 hours, you were able to get across town, drop what you're doing, and go see that house. And when you got there, there was probably 10 to 15 families already there, half of which are probably gonna be putting in an offer that's gonna be competing against you. All the offers are gonna be over list. I mean, there were a lot of clients that would offer 50, 75,000 over, and they still weren't at the top of the stack as far as the best offer. So they were putting in, offers with things like high risk and doing guarantees and waiving all kinds of things. And so waiving inspections, and just a lot of money out of pocket was being spent whenever you're buying a house then. So it was just a position where the seller was really controlling a lot of the transaction. It was completely all in their favor. It was really just not a pleasant time to buy a house, and a lot of people paid more than what the homes were listed for. So the reason that it was so crazy, if we get back in the time machine and we go back to 2008, is that this is really kind of when things started. So from 2007 to 2008, we look at, that's where we really started with our supply and demand issue that we're facing with today in 2023. So prior to the financial crash of 2008, we had, as the U.S. Country, we were probably anywhere from 2 million to 2.4 million homes is what we were building on average per year. That changed in 2008. So since 2008, we have on record not built more than 1 million homes in the United States per year since then. So we've started building less homes. On top of that, we have had more people coming into this country in the last 10 years than we have since we became a country. So we've had a lot more people. Our population is growing. Our housing building is shrinking, and so we have more people, less houses. Therefore, we have this supply and demand issue that we're facing with today. So then the inferno that was 2020 and 2021, it was kind of the wood that started the fire. And so it's basically, the rates were really low, artificially low, because we had the global pandemic, and there was basically these big drivers. Our population was changing, our housing supply is changing, rates were really low. So we just had all of these things that just created a really tough housing market the last few years. So, what we're seeing right now is that the housing supply issue isn't changing quickly. We're seeing housing starts declining, housing completions declining, so we're not bridging that gap anytime soon. So at the end of the day, if you're concerned that the housing market's gonna crash, or if you're waiting for house prices to come down, I would not hold your breath, because number one, we're not gonna have a housing crash. There's just not enough supply for that to happen. So if we had an abundance of homes for sale, then yes, we could see something like that happen, but we don't have that. And so it's the one thing that the news isn't talking about right now that they should be. They're talking about all the scary things. Some of the things aren't even real, but what they should be talking about is all the demand that's sitting on the sidelines. So all these people are waiting for rates to come down. They're waiting for something to happen. And as soon as we do start seeing interest rates come down, all of that demand that's on the sidelines, they're gonna come out of the woodworks, and it's gonna be a market just like 2020 and 2021, if not worse, because we are facing with just not enough homes for sale. So there are some markets that have low inventory and some that just have no inventory, no homes at all for sale in a specific zip code. So, that's what's real, and that's what we should be looking at and talking about. So the reality is that, if you want to purchase a home, right now is a great opportunity. Yes, the elephant in the room is that interest rates are higher than what we would like to see ideally, but that is the only negative. Right now, because there's so many people on the sidelines, it's a great opportunity to get in where the seller's not controlling the transaction, where you actually have time to think about the home. You're not competing against a bunch of other people. Now, there are still some competitive situations right now, but we're gonna start seeing that be worse. So, when we look at, just kind of putting things in the bigger picture, if we look at, okay, how much more will we pay in interest by buying a house right now at today's interest? It may be the difference of a few $100s a month. So over the course of maybe 2 years, maybe that's an extra 10 grand in interest that you would pay. So when we look at the bigger picture, would we rather pay $10,000 more in interest, or would we rather buy in a competitive market where we're paying $30,000, $40,000 over list? So buying today is going to help get you the best price. As far as the interest rates, you can always refinance later. So it's, don't be turned off by the high interest rates. Don't fall prey victim to the media headlines as far as the market's going to crash. There's just no data that supports that. So buying a house right now is going to help you with starting to build wealth if you are currently renting. When you're paying renting, you're paying 100% interest. You're not paying into any asset that's helping to build equity. So I just, as a loan officer, I feel like it is my duty to put things in perspective when we're looking at the housing market. So if you are considering purchasing a home, whether it's this year, this month, or even just in the next 5 years, it is never too early to start a conversation. So hope you have a great day, and I hope to talk to you soon.